Bueno, hola a todos desde Basado en Hechos Reales. Como saben, en esta edición del festival, Emir Kusturica fue uno de los invitados. Realizamos una entrevista con él un día antes del fallecimiento de Diego Maradona. Como saben, él es el realizador de Maradona by Kusturica, un documental que se estrenó en 2008, y queríamos tener la palabra de él nuevamente, así que pudimos volver a contactarlo gracias a Matias Mosteirín, director de Cayese, la productora que nos acompañó para tener a Emir Kusturica en el festival. Así que los voy a dejar con ellos dos. Muchísimas gracias.
Hello, Emir. Thank you for being here with us again. Thank you so much for your generosity. Emir, in 2008, you presented in the Cannes Film Festival your film Maradona by Kusturica, together with Diego and Claudia and Dalma and Janina. It was a film that you made, I think that from 2005 to 2007. And since its release in the festival, it became one of the most important tributes to his life and probably one of the most watched documentaries in history. With the pass of the years, it became massive. This is the reason why we thought that it was very meaningful to have this time with you, that we thank you very much for you to share your testimony on your experience and encounter with Diego Maradona. This is for you to have this room that will be screened together with the previous interview, if you agree.
You know, Maradona, it's my first real documentary that I did. I did many small documentaries, but never as big as Maradona was. I must say that the inspiration for this film was coming from something that was for a film director, after so many films and so many years spent in cinema, to touch the issue that was so contradictory and so rich that I was, when I was starting to make this movie, I was comparing it with, for example, what should I have done if the film was about the other football player, like a Beckham or like some other stars, or if you want to make a movie about Ronaldo today, or if you want to make a movie, I wouldn't say Messi, but these all players, they don't carry charisma that was so much destructive, self-destructive, and so good material for the film, because no other person was playing so good football, but also no other person had a private life with so many contradictions. So it's like when you want to make a good movie and you create a hero or anti-hero, you always have to look for the room to show a wide scale, like in the music, a wide scale of different characteristics. So when I met him, I discovered the charisma and the I would say sympathy that he was creating, not just in football, but also being ambassador of the poor areas from all over the world. And when I was speaking to him privately, very often he was telling me the stories that are very funny and very, I would say, how to glorify his sincere relation to the life and to the football. When we were in Cuba, I was asking him, you know that all the people, when you won over England, you know how many people, how big explosion you created around the world, how people were happy when you scored the goal, especially the first one, or even the second one. And he said, I said, I'm sure there was no anything else stronger than that. And he said, it's not true. I'm the one who was happiest man in the world. And I'm the one who carried the biggest explosion one could imagine. Our relationship was corresponding to a time of his recovery.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's, you know, I'm very often blamed for the length of my films. But I'm like, you know, always I believe that I have to dig as deep as possible. So I was coming to Buenos Aires a couple of times, I couldn't find him. But each time when I found him, he was generous. He was what he was in his life, giving to anybody whatever they wanted, including goals on the football matches. So one time even he was hospitalized for the problems with the heart. So like all big people, they never die at once. They're dying from many times. And I think his heart, which was filled with the compassion and with in fact spreading the idea of unjust world, which I think it's the biggest characteristic of his social life. I was lucky that this period, that corresponding with the end of the movie, was bringing Maradona in very good shape. Mm-hmm. He was presenting film in Cannes. I don't remember if anybody in the world or any other actor had produced such an explosion like this premiere in Cannes. Why? Because all male, they love him after envy him for the football that he played. No other creature in the world was such a, by God, developed in order to be uncatchable until and being able to dribble as much as he wants. So all what was in the Grand Palais in Cannes was in fact people who were exploding with love, not with having one break being brought up. And I will never forget it. You know, when the whole family came to the room, they started watching a movie like as if they watched television. So they were Dalma and Claudia and him, and everybody was speaking while the movie was going. And they would say, oh yeah, look, this is what, I remember this. Where does this come from? And four of them in the central part of Grand Palais were speaking as if they were home watching a television. And what made me happy was that this period of being clean was in fact relaunching his charisma back to life of a trainer. And when I met his lawyer once, and I was flying to Buenos Aires to play a concert afterwards, and I was asking him, is everything fine? He said, 4. I said, what's 4? He said, 4 million he made in Saudi Arabia. I said, that more than good, because his situation was somehow always fluctuating in between 0 and big number. And in between, it was his life that one could wish that he was spending much more time on the football stadium than just going outside. I don't know if the world, if ever in the history of humanity, I think, apart from Jesus Christ, as a person, as somebody who was coming from the life, was putting so many people at the same time in the grief and feeling for somebody like him. I don't think that. Why is that? Because many theoreticians, they say that a dance was the first human art. The dancing is the first expression. There is a big fight if it's in the cave, painting, or this. If this theory is true, he was not playing football, he was dancing football. And these images multiplying in the past 10, 15 years, that everybody has access to this from so many angles. Jesus Christ didn't have these angles, and nobody in the world before had any chance to approach the skills of this magician. So when you bring the magic together with the physical skills, and you put it all together with a smile, that was one of the most I would say it's like a real human virus that everybody was glued to this. Plus the way that he looked like. You know, I was always thinking of him. First time I've seen him, I was thinking about the god of Gilgamesh in Mesopotamia, who was brought down by every year by the ropes, and he was made out of sand. So Maradona implicates many other socially relevant things for the rest of the humanity. Not just running chicken as football players are today. This is a persona with the contradictions, and one part of this contradiction was his sense of social relevance to give to the poor people around the world. Plus, the rest of the classes were attracted by him because he was unbelievable player. No one will ever, there will be players stronger, they will be running quicker, but there will be no magic inside the dribble. And this kind of anti-gravity possibility that he was carrying with himself. So when you put all this together, it's like as if God, I would call God with a muddy God, was just putting all planet together.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as you say, he has an incredible substance, and as you say as well, as you can imagine, Argentina is in a state of grief and sadness, and it's a loss of existential dimension, cultural, social, and I'm sure that your words will be extremely valorated, Emir. And there is you said you managed to portray him in a moment of his life. I was watching the documentary, and he speaks about living without a script, living in the present, and he really looks in a very good shape. And you also portrayed, I think, the dimension of the love story with Claudia in a very particular...
Yes, all the good movies, in the end, it's like with the Pepe. You know, we were thinking we are going to make something that has to go with his humanity or all this, and then in the end, in fact, the trace of humanity always leads you to a love story. And what they collected in the past was rooted into this kind of Video 8, Super 8, and all this kind of material that was just building the strong love story. But he is love story. That's the point. Maradona is the love story. You know, apart from the political differences around the world, when you put the segments together, in the end, you know, I must say, I wrote an article here for the newspaper, Serbian newspaper, about him, and everybody was calling me, thanking me. But then, day by day, I go and I watch on YouTube Maradona's goals, and I was crying.
Yes.
Why? I don't know. Might be this kind of freedom that we had in the previous century was just leaving us step by step, and he was one of the biggest promoters of this free world, in which you could call from Buenos Aires the brother of Bill Clinton and tell him, "You motherfucker, what are you doing in my city if I am not allowed to go to Washington?" Or, I don't know, do whatever he wanted and to be loved at the same time. Incredible. It's somehow there's ingredients of something on a so huge scale in between gypsies, Indians, North American Indians, all the people who were oppressed and suppressed all life, and there was a talent that proved that they are better than the rest of the world. And he was the one.
A hero, a leader.
Hero, as I said, Gilgamesh, you know, if he was not alive, they would have made him out of mud.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely uncompromising. Yes.
He was not compromising with himself. And, you know, from the time of Goethe and this strange, big anti-heroes, in the normal life, we did not have such a performance. No one else performed the life as he did. And we were always forgiving him all, because there was always something more important, which is human life, almost impossible. Something more important that we loved than what could have been, for what could have been criticized, or what, including his political orientation. Could you imagine today somebody from football players having an idea what is justice, what is unionist, what is this? These fucking people, they don't have a clue. They are just they are going to end up like digitalized players. That's how much they could do. You know, I was watching the other day Bayern Munich, the way they train, the way they eat, which doses they get, how many times during the day they train, and they all play football, but more they go forward, less it becomes football.
Mm-hmm. Yes, one of the things you say in your documentary is that part of his emotional bond and love bond with people was because he used to speak from the heart, and
he was just you know, he was translating the game from the stadium into the life. And unfortunately, many of these aspects of this life were not very good for him. But in fact, even this, he overcame. I could do everything I want, which was one of my life aims. And I was not certainly not like Maradona, but this is something that is God-given. When somebody is so free that there is no other thing that he can do. You know, no other person also has been connecting the centuries, because you imagine Maradona's dribblings. If a digitalization era is not today, people are not having the access to so many dribbles. You know, these are the more millions viewers of his actions now than most of the popular actors or actresses around the world. Might be not like MTV or these kind of stars, but you know, social relevance of this persona, including all what he was doing, throwing money, driving best cars in the world, buying houses, but he was not doing it to him. He was doing it for his life and the people who surrounded him. And one thing is important. He was spending always much more than he earned. He did not take care of the money. He was not the prisoner of the life of somebody who is like counting how much money he made. But for that, he was also loved like nobody else.
Thank you so much, Emir. Thank you so much for your words. Thank you so much for our previous meeting that was incredible. Thank you. I thank you on behalf of Basado en Hechos Reales, the festival, and all the audience that I'm sure is embracing you by hearing you today and listening to your words. Thank you very much.
Yes, always thank you so much.
Always happy to speak to Argentina.
I want
thank
to
you.
thank,
You're great. Thank you.
I want to thank also to Paula Baccaro and Jose Ibanez and the producers of the documentary who did an extraordinary work, and I would like to mention them as well.
Yeah. Okay, all the best, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you so much, Emir, again. Bye-bye.
Ciao.